Hello, hello. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'm Erin Foley. If you are tuning in for the very first time, I am a professional development coach and speaker. I work with women who are looking to really foster more confidence, less anxiety in the workplace, more fulfillment in their work, to really work to their full potential. A lot of the women that I work with are in a new job or a new role, and they're having a bit of a confidence crisis. They're questioning themselves a lot, maybe having difficulty adjusting to the culture, worrying about their performance, having difficulty learning this new job or role. So that is where I come in. So that brings me to why I'm here today. What I want to talk about today is resilience, and I'm kind of obsessed with this topic lately. This is something that took me a long time in my career to really develop, and it's something that no one really talked to me about. So I am someone who is a recovering perfectionist. I am someone who struggled with imposter syndrome for a lot of my career, and I absolutely believed with every inch of my being that being successful, not making mistakes, not failing, was going to make me happy, and it was going to make me feel fulfilled in my work, and it was going to make me feel strong and empowered. If you had told me that making mistakes and getting criticism and experiencing failures would actually make me feel stronger and more capable, I would have thought it sounded like a good bumper sticker, but I would have thought it was kind of bullshit. Honestly, right? Like everybody always says like, oh, failure's good and you need to fail so you can get back up. And like it all sounds like a good inspirational book. But in the reality of my day-to-day life, I squeezed at things in an attempt to avoid that. Or I did things like self-sabotaging and procrastinating excessively so that if something didn't work out, I could be like, it's because I waited till the last minute, versus questioning my own capabilities or competencies, which is what I was terrified. I was like afraid to ever really look at anything because I was afraid that maybe I wasn't competent or capable enough to do this. So I sort of had this front and I squeezed at everything very, very tightly. So one of the things that I have seen so much more in my life and my career since I left my career as a professor to become a speaker and a coach is that I experienced tremendous amount of failures, first of all, because building a business just inherently leads to a lot of failures. And it's so fascinating because I really, when I was in this place of experiencing a lot of failures and not getting the outcome that I wanted a lot, I started to notice all the research on resilience and how often resilience was a part of the equation of people who are successful, people who are fulfilled, people who experience deep levels of satisfaction in their life. They have resilience, meaning they feel like they can bounce back from things. They feel like they can handle an outcome that they didn't necessarily want. And what I realized was that we sort of live in a culture that sells us this lie that achieving, squeezing, avoiding mistakes and failure is going to make us feel less anxious and it's going to make us feel more capable. And in reality, doing that consistently, staying in spaces where we've mastered things, never really branching out, avoiding mistakes at all costs, squeezing, actually makes us more anxious, and it makes us feel less capable overall because we become terrified of any outcome that doesn't stay consistent with this, I'm successful, I'm doing good, I'm getting positive feedback. So for me, the few times during like my PhD work and my career as a professor, when something didn't turn out the way I wanted it to, when I didn't get the outcome that I had anticipated, it was like earth-shattering because I had built this notion in my mind that I had to reach this sort of A+ status all the time. And if I didn't, it meant I'm not capable or I'm not competent in some way. And I really couldn't handle outcomes that I didn't like or didn't see coming without it feeling very crushing. So I want to really invite you to look at yourself and look at how resilient you feel. Do you feel like you can handle making a mistake and not making it mean the end of the world about you, your competency, or your capabilities? Can you handle being new at something where you haven't mastered it? Can you handle getting feedback from your coworker or your boss that maybe isn't the feedback that you anticipated or that you wanted, where they told you weren't doing a good job at something and you needed to improve something? Because the crazy thing is this, that what makes us feel less anxious, more fulfilled in our careers and in our lives is not perfectionism, mastering everything, and crushing everything to 100%. What actually makes us feel less anxious and more capable is resilience. And you gain resilience by making mistakes, experiencing failures, trying things that are new that maybe you haven't mastered yet, and figuring out that you can handle it. That is such an important part of our evolution, really, as a human, that nobody really talks about or didn't talk about to me when I was sort of, figuring out what I wanted to be when I grow up and trying to master my career. It was like we just constantly reward when people reach this destination or when we perform to this A+ ability, and we forget about the fact that where you're going to get the experiences that will make you feel the most capable and strong and competent in your life is by going through experiences that require some resilience. So if you're squeezing at your career really tightly, if you're in something new and you are feeling total self-doubt because you haven't mastered it, if you are someone who is a perfectionist in your workplace and you accept nothing more than A+ all the time and you fear failure or mistakes greatly, I want to encourage you to challenge the lie that doing that is going to make you feel less anxious or happy. It's actually going to continuously tell your brain that you can't handle a negative, quote, negative outcome, right? A negative outcome is really anytime we get an outcome that we didn't want. The boss says you didn't do a good job, you didn't land the account or the client, whatever that outcome is. And I just want to really invite you to think about the importance of building your resilience muscle in your career. It's so important because it will not only make you feel better in terms of being able to feel more free, do your thing, show up, do your best, but know that you can handle if something unexpected occurs. It also influences your overall performance because when we're squeezing at everything so tightly, we tend to burn out. We tend to not speak up as much. We tend to not take the risks that we want. I mean, it goes as far as us often under negotiating for salaries, all kinds of things. But I really want you to think about every time you feel yourself squeezing and fearing that failure and fearing that mistake, or you just got that feedback that you felt like was, catastrophic for you in the workplace. I want you to really just tell yourself the word resilience. I want to gain resilience. Resilience will set me free because the truth is resilience will set you free. I never want to say the way that we become less anxious about something is to constantly avoid it. The way we become less anxious about something is when we stop avoiding it. We go into it, we see that we can handle it, and then we can stop being petrified all the time that any mistake or any outcome that isn't what we desired means we're not capable, we're not competent, and that we're not going to be able to handle it. You can handle it. Resilience is a muscle, and you build it, and the way that you build it is by allowing yourself to move through your life and your career, knowing that mistakes and failures and outcomes and being new at something and not mastering something is a part of that, and not making it mean something intense about you when you don't get the outcome that you want, but knowing this is just part of the human experience. This is just part of being in a career, and that's how you gain resilience. Resilience is so key to a healthy, happy life and a healthy, happy career. So please feel free, check me out, erinmfoley.com. Right now I have a great guide on there for women who are in a new job or a new role and you're having overwhelm, confidence crisis, you're having a hard time adjusting. Check that out, download that. It will be super helpful for you. So please feel free, erinmfoley.com. Go check me out. I'll be back with more great information for you guys. Remember, resilience, not perfectionism, not avoiding things. Resilience is key. Okay, you guys, Sorry I had to hold this because it was hitting my earring and then it's all noisy. All right. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.